Testing levels. 1, 2. Testing levels. Go.
Pop, 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 that's all I do.
Hey guys, welcome to the Moe and O show. My name is Omar Gonzalez.
And I'm Mo Morales.
And we're friends from high school, grammar school, and we were born in the same hospital.
No, those are all lies. Except for the last one. That one's actually accurate. We were born.
So, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing really well. I'm sad, though.
Why?
Because we're going to have to change the name of our show.
Yeah, we talked about that. We decided that I love the Moe and O show. That was like, we had two names for the show originally. Do you remember the other one?
I don't know. Was it Two Bros Over Joe?
Yeah, Bros Over Joes. Like the idea was, the original idea is that we would be in a cafe setting, kind of like this.
With a little fake green screen?
Oh my God.
That was a bad idea.
We were going to have a green screen that changed every week, and we would be in different cafes. It'd be in Rome, and then...
We trying to steal the idea. Yes, steal the idea from Jerry's Coffee with Comedians.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Of course, we didn't have the budget to go to coffee shops.
in Russia and all kinds of different
or drive
places.
those cars either, but,
Yeah, so that was our original idea, that we would be in different cafes, and then we said, forget that.
Mm-hmm.
But the Moe and O show just sounded fun to say. But what we realized is that analytic-wise, searching-wise, that in order to grow as a podcast, you really have to have a name that's...
Like photography mentioning or video mentioning or X17 mentioning, whichever Fuji comes out this week.
Yeah, exactly. So title-wise, we've been doing okay. So if we have the right title, we get more views. But as far as growth goes, we need something with tech or photography to be bunched in with a lot of the already established.
And I know
podcasts.
you guys are probably going to be like, oh, but you can't change the name. How do you think we feel?
We got mugs, damn it.
But the bottom line is, in order for this content to grow for you, it has to grow as something easily searchable for other people to come and join us.
So we need some kind of cool tech name. We'll come up with something.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure someone will give us an advice, use the Moogle. Never mind.
I got one. The O and Mo show.
That's brilliant.
We'll use the bugs upside down.
Instant success. How could that fail?
Totally. So I got a quick story for you. And this was kind of a little bit of a panic on my part. You ever have self-inducing anxiety?
No, but you do it all the time.
Right? Me, this has to happen to a lot of people where you just create all this drama out of nowhere and you just stoke the fire and it gets worse and worse and worse. So listen to this craziness. So I'm headed to an event, and on my phone, I have the GPS set for the Crestmount Country Club, which I've shot at before. But all of a sudden I've realized, as I'm winding through the streets, that if my phone died, if it just... Think of where I'm going with this. If it totally decided to die, I wouldn't even know where the hell I'm going.
Or where you were.
Or where I am. And our reliance on technology, it has to be so dependable that I risk my
whole life on this road. It's funny, I just had this conversation in the car yesterday.
No.
Yes, because we were going to get something to eat, and it took us through...
the GPS, you mean, your Waze.
The Waze took us through Moonaki down its industrial area.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I've never seen this area before. If this phone dies now, we're all going to die. Because it was pitch dark. I couldn't...
You're raising your anxiety now.
Yeah, at that point, but it was realistic. Because my battery was low and the charger wasn't working in my plug. So I'm like, this was a real threat. This is not self-inflicted, induced by my own personal anxiety.
Yeah, so, with me, I was staring at the... You know what it was? My battery life was down a bit. Even though the phone was plugged in, I left the house with 25%. And I was thinking, I used to have a backup GPS.
A TomTom or something, right?
Yeah, TomTom, one of these Garmin ones, the first Garmin. The problem is I couldn't search. I don't even have the damn address. And the Garmin is so old that I can't look up Crestmount Country Club. It wouldn't know where it is. So do you remember what we used to do, when we first started driving?
Printing
directions, maps, and also gas stations. You used to go up to a gas station and be like, do you know where the Crestmount Country Club is?
And they actually knew.
They knew. They'd go down the road.
Hey, listen, Poppy, you ain't lost.
You got to go down. You see the trees over there? You make a left.
Not the red trees, the green trees. Those are the ones.
And so the anxiety built as I was like, if my phone dies, I won't know how to get to my event. And it made me realize I need to maybe plan a little better where I should know where I'm going in case the phone just decides to explode.
Or
I need a backup.
Worst case scenario, I have been driving someplace, and I always leave early enough in case this happens. I've been driving somewhere, and then Waves decides, I'm going to take you the very, very long way to get there.
Because it knows.
It's like, you know what? There's a little traffic here. Let's go down every back road to avoid this traffic. When ultimately you're going to get there at the same time.
Or just a minute like earlier. Yeah.
Like, we're going to save you 4 seconds.
Waze, great app, but seems to be a little more aggressive at like pulling you to the side.
And they're like, come here.
Yeah. It's only Irvington.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Oh,
now we can't go through everything.
Yeah.
Actually, we wouldn't go through there anyway.
Hey. No, Waze. Google Maps or Waze?
Waze.
You use Waze.
Yeah, I used to never used Apple Maps.
Never use Apple Maps.
But I used Google Maps for a hot minute until I finally found Waze, and then it's been Waze all the way.
All the ways. I love Waze for its like police hiding ahead. Mm-hmm. You know, now, do you report stuff on Waze? Are you like a good citizen?
I try to.
I feel like as I'm reporting, I'm going to crash. I'll be the crash being like...
Well, you have to make smart choices and not do it at 80 miles an hour,
Well, you're supposed to, there's a setting on Waze where if you tap the phone with 3 fingers, like you touch the screen with 3 fingers, it listens to you. Waze will be like, what do you want? And then you can say, please report traffic or something. You could talk to Waze.
I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm a Waze updater.
Yeah.
I love those 6 points. Give it to me, baby. I come here.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't see.
Damn it.
A large OLED screen hanging off the wall in the kitchen anymore.
What happened? Okay, so those of you that didn't listen to our other Super Bowl episode, I had a 55-inch OLED, which was a dream TV. Beautiful. Like you saw it. It was butter.
Blacks are blacker than black, son.
So black, right? It was beautiful. But I ended up returning it, and threefold. One, it was way too big for the space. Bad planning on my part. I thought it would work. I really did.
You thought your eyes would adjust to it, right?
Yeah, but the viewing distance was the problem. If all the material was in 8K, it would have been fine. We were 3 feet away from the TV. But we're just too close. Everything was pixelated. The news, everything was just stupid. So you came in and you saw my new TV, which was a Samsung 7100. It was a $399
LED. Beautiful.
LED.
Beautiful TV.
Right?
And the first thing I said to him was that it complements the room much better than the bigger, much more delicious TV. So, I think you made the right decision. Obviously, you had your reasons to make the decisions. What were those reasons?
My wife.
Hey, now.
No. It didn't fit in the space. It was, I had to return it. It just didn't fit in the space. It didn't work. And we started talking about a little bit before coming on the air here, is that $399 versus like $1,600.
The laws of diminishing returns.
Exactly.
Are you actually seeing differences worth that money?
No, 4 times as much. No.
And I think while that $1,700 TV was amazing, was it $1,400 better than what you're actually experiencing downstairs right now?
And I played some of the 8K for you, and it looked totally fine. I almost didn't get it. It's a 40-inch. I was like, 40-inch?
Yeah, I hate what that.
Get out of here. It was stupid.
Who was going to watch that TV?
Piece of junk. But now when you look it on the wall, it's like perfect.
It's perfect. Like
I'll put a picture up here.
And I said to him, it brought back the rest of the pantry that I really enjoyed looking at. He has his
yeah, we got a little coffee area.
It looks pretty.
It's nice. So the lesson for you listeners and viewers out there is, one, don't be like me. It was definitely an impulsive buy. It was almost like a very...
It was self-gratifying. You thought...
selfish. Right, yeah, self-gratifying, selfish kind of purchase.
Instead of like a practice.
This is there it is. Me. There it is. I deserve it because I've never had the top-of-the-line TV. I'm going to freaking get it.
Rich man, poor man. Anyway.
Yeah. And look at that. I'm happy with the $399 TV more than I was with the friggin' $1,600.
And looking at it, you wouldn't think it's just a $399 TV. It's a really nice TV. It's a great picture. It's nice setup. The bezels are kind of really small. It's
perfect.
Nothing
thin enough.
wrong with it.
Absolutely.
So perfect in that room.
And that goes with cameras too. You know, well, I made a video recently about how you don't need the Fuji XT3. Even though it's an amazing camera, no one is going to notice those little differences, you know, and older cameras are just totally as fine as new cameras.
Yeah, especially if you're just taking pictures with it.
Yeah.
I don't mean like just taking pictures with it, but if you're not big into video, you're spending money you don't need.
So we have some new camera announcements. We wrote down some notes here.
So within the last month and a half,
Even this week.
right? And I was gonna say that within
sorry.
the weekend, within this week itself, we had 4 cameras released. Some we touched on in passing, but none that we've actually stopped and looked at. So we've had over the last 2 months, really, we had the XT30,
Yeah, that came out this week.
we had the A6400 by Sony. We had the Panasonic S1, and we had the Canon Eos
RIP. Rest in peace.
RP.
People are calling it the rest in peace.
They should. I mean, Canon should have known that.
All right. Hold on. Let's go with the oldest one, the Panasonic full frame camera.
S1.
Yeah. So, I mean, kudos to them for coming out with a full frame camera. But it's so weird that they have such a success with the GH5, GH4
The
series.
3/4 market.
Why wouldn't they make a full frame GH4? It doesn't have a flip out screen.
This is one of those where we were talking about YouTubers we watch. This is, if you haven't seen Camera Conspiracies.
Oh yeah, we got to add him.
His video on the S1 was hilarious about how they came up with this.
We'll link that up.
Oh, you got to
too.
watch that. It's hilarious.
And thank you, all those of you that left recommendations for
Yeah, because
YouTube
definitely
channels.
I've been checking out some of the recommendations you guys had, and I see why you recommended it. I mean, but think about the Panasonic S1. It's a new system, right? And it's aimed for professionals, but it only has 3 native lenses.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, all systems start with just a few lenses. So, do you really want to aim it at professionals when you're starting out with nothing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a partnership with Leica and Sigma. So, over the next few years, you're going to see lenses coming out. But right now, they're selling a 50 millimeter 1.4 for $2,000.
Crazy, yeah.
And then that's a cheaper one made by Panasonic. The one by Leica is like $4,000. For a 50 millimeter.
Point of return. No one would notice between that and this 56 1.2 delicious lens from Fuji.
It lacks, phase detection. It's only using
Yeah,
contrast.
contrast.
autofocus.
That's the other thing. It's like, let's give it a worse.
How can we make this camera as bad as possible, but sell it to professionals? And they have the 2 versions like everyone's coming out with. They have the 24 megabyte one, and they have the 30 something
Megapixel.
megabytes. I'm
It's
hungry.
only got 24 megabytes.
I'm so starving.
It's got no memory.
It has the 24 megapixel and the 37 or 32. It's got the 20 and the 30 range.
Yeah.
So it puts you in the same place of, do I want the Sony AR3 or the 7?
A7R3 or A7 III, yeah.
Those words he's saying. That's
and
what I meant.
Z6, Z7 kind of thing.
Exactly. Everyone's doing that now. Like, listen, just put one camera out there and make it great. These are cameras aimed at professionals that the professionals refuse to accept.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like, no, take that to the prosumers, because us as the professionals, we don't want this. We want, if it was going to be a professional camera, we need this, and this.
But to play devil's advocate, if I was a manufacturer of cameras, the money is not really with the pros. The money's with the masses.
Right. So do you think they're saying it's a professional camera so the prosumer feels better
That's what I'm
buying it?
saying. You know what I'm saying? I think that...
Pretty sneaky, sis.
Yeah, you like that? Just put one card slot in it. That's cool because no one cares that's on vacation. But they now know that the DSLR is dying. Let me get the next pro camera. Damn, that Z6, Z7 is nice.
But the problem, what aggravates me is they shoot amazing. They're great cameras. But the body limitations is just the biggest problem. I mean...
But it's only their first iteration of it. You got to think evolution-wise. It's a great camera for the first one. They're just behind in the game, They're behind the whole Sony thing. All right, so that's...
Speaking of Sony...
Oh, go ahead.
Sony came out with a new crop sensor themselves.
And they did a Canon. They crippled it. Because they put a screen on it.
I think...
All right, go ahead.
I think the way Sony works is unique to everyone else.
How?
they don't put new cameras out to replace other cameras. They put cameras out to give people choices.
All right.
So you could still buy the A6300 crop sensor, right?
Yeah.
You could buy the A6500 crop sensor with IBIS and all that stuff, or you could buy this brand new A6400
Why would you get
in
it,
the
though?
middle.
Yeah, but they put a vloggy screen on it with no IBIS. Why wouldn't they put image stabilization on it?
Because if you buy a lens that has OOS on it, you're not going to notice the difference than if you're comparing it to the A6500.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of improvements, and most vloggers use gimbals these days.
Yeah, I guess.
So it's not a perfect camera, but it's also $500 cheaper than the 6500.
Yeah.
So it's coming in at $8 something as opposed to $12.99, $1300.
Yeah.
So it's a great camera for what it is. You just have to know its limitations.
Yeah. Again, who's it for? Is it if it's for a vlogger? If they didn't even advertise it as that because there is no image stabilization, they worked more with the autofocus is ridiculously great, which tells me it's
World's
a photo camera.
Fastest autofocus.
Yeah, it's a photo
it locks
camera,
and it makes the A65 look slow, which the A65 was amazing.
They want it to be amazing.
6500.
6500. They want that to be the video camera, the 6500. I think if you're looking for a great travel camera and you don't do much video, or just like you said, an optical stabilized lens video. Just like I use my Fuji XT30, the lenses are the only things that are stabilized. They look fine for our vacation videos. We're not doing anything professional. 6300 is great for, so many freaking numbers.
So I have the A6300. I bought it because I'm only going to do photo with it.
Does that have IBIS?
No.
Oh,
that was
okay.
before the IBIS. And I use it strictly for photos because the recording time for 4K was like 5 minutes or 30 minutes or 15 minutes. It's something ridiculous.
Before it blows up.
Yeah. The A6500 improved on the 4K video recording before it gets overheated.
Got it.
It goes up to 30 plus minutes. Now the A6400 can do up to an hour plus.
Oh, that's right.
At 4K without overheating.
That's
now,
right.
Again,
that's right.
if you're sitting still on a tripod at home and you want to be
You're
YouTuber,
right. And you know what? You're recording audio a different way. Put the flip up screen.
Because it has the inputs on the side, right?
That's right. There's a use for it. You're right. I could see that. There's choices for people that want to. You know what it is? It's just we always look at what cameras don't have.
Exactly.
We look at what cameras don't have.
That's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because we voice our opinion so that hopefully the next iteration will bring it. But at the same time, shut up and settle. Settle, but shut up and appreciate what is there.
True.
Speaking of new stuff, this is your world. So I'm going to sit back and have some coffee back here. But
go ahead.
Tell me about the new XT30.
All right. So I made a video on this, but the Fuji XT30 was announced, and everything looks really great on it. A couple of disappointments for me personally. One, I was really hoping for the screen that would pop out like the XT100 series that they had. I really thought they were going to do that for this camera, but they didn't. It has the same sort of tilty screen instead of a flip-out screen. Whatever. And the second really disappointment for me, but I really have to try the camera first, is they got rid of this D-pad, which is...
the nippy.
You know, they're going more towards touch gestures. So now instead of a D-pad, you actually have to swipe left and right instead of buttons. And I mentioned this in my video, but I know from using a phone and other touch things, sometimes touch doesn't work 100%. It's like 94%. So I was a little disappointed that they removed buttons. To combat that, they've added a joystick. So the Fuji XT20 didn't have a joystick. So maybe with the joystick, it might help a little bit, but the XT30 looks like a faster focusing camera, a great vacation camera. They came out with a sexy new color of graphite.
Some of the notes I actually made about that was that it currently has the fastest autofocus in the Fuji lineup.
Totally, even more than the XT3.
So obviously the XT3 will probably get a firmware update, but right now it does have the fastest focus. It has an improved face selection.
Yeah.
The video isn't top of the line, but it's very respectable. An improvement over the 20.
Ridiculously respectful. Yeah. You can do 4K at 30 frames a second, which is like really great looking. And you can do continuous iPhone. So we actually could record this show with the XT30 because it would track if we were right now we're on manual focus, but you could record a vlog that would 4K follow your face everywhere.
And it would be also, you could select what face to follow, right?
Totally. We could touch your face.
Don't touch my cara. Also, it has all the color profiles that you find in the XT3.
Yeah.
Right?
They added a new one, Eterna.
Even though we don't like the touchscreen, it has a much better touchscreen than,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
what you had
supposed to
in
be
5S.
improved.
And, you know, there's nothing wrong with it.
It looks great. I've been juggling whether to get it or not. My thought was to borrow it first, but my XT20 is so beat up from dropping it, whatever, that my son is going to inherit that camera. It's so beat up. It still works great, but I think I'm going to start fresh and make more videos. And my channel's kind of based around the smaller camera anyway.
That's
so
great, though, because you pick that up and you'll be able to start whole new world.
Everyone who's
Introduce
picking that
those
up.
people in there.
Yeah.
And another thing, too, that's good about the 30 is that it also, just like the T3, it has the full sensor focus. Like there's focus spots all over the full sensor.
Full sensor, absolutely.
So while I'm not a Fuji fan and I'm not going to pick it up,
I like you talking about the
there's a lot
Fuji
of
stuff,
things,
brother.
You know, you told me to do some homework. I did some homework, son.
You sound
Back
good.
up. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that it feels smaller. It looks awesome. The only problem I saw on the visual inspection of it was the little joystick, because Kai Wong.
He should just be Quan.
That guy, Quan.
Quan.
So he made fun of the nippy, and that's the first thing I thought when I saw it. It looks like a little nipple.
It totally is a nipple. Have you felt it? Here,
No.
feel my nipple.
It's nipply. It's like, whatever.
Here's two of them.
Oh my, you got one on each side. Left, right, left, right. What?
Yeah, I have both cameras here, those of you just listening. And that leaves our last camera to talk about, which is...
Do we have to talk about it?
Man.
Everyone's bashed it. I mean, it's been like...
Again, let's talk about what it has that's great. And I'm going to say the first thing it has that's great is its price.
That's on my list, yep.
Right? For price, for someone to gain entry into the full frame world, if they're going to get a little cheapy, let's say nifty 50 on there, they're going to get beautiful bokeh, they're going to get sharp photographs. If they want to shoot wider, they can get a full frame view of their lenses that are 10 millimeters, that are really wide. So I think for price, that's my top benefit of the rest in peace.
So what I have, we're talking about the Canon EOS RP, by the way.
RP.
Like Omar said, I have a few things listed here. The price, $1,300 for full frame. Way to get into.
Pretty good.
As entry, that is the best thing ever. And if you already have Canon glass, if you haven't,
a lot of people have Canon glass.
If you bought full frame lenses for your crop sensor Canon, all you have to do is buy that little adapter, and you're able to start running with your old lenses.
Yeah.
Now, it has a very small body, which is very lightweight, easy to move around.
It looks good from the people that held it, and it even comes with an extra grip in case you want a little bit. And the grip isn't too crazy. It's $80, but the grip makes it look, if you want a little bit more beefy grip, as opposed to Sony that made a grip for the A7 III that's a half grip.
Yeah.
And it's $129.
I saw your version of it.
So
I liked it.
I bought the Mikey $50 one.
It also it doesn't have the greatest 4K, but at $1,300, 4K video that it does give you, it's pretty good. And
if you were shooting manually focused things, because
they don't have the
they took phase detection away from
no
4K.
pixel.
Yeah, dual pixel. Canon has the best autofocus, the dual pixel autofocus, and in 4K it's disabled. So they crippled that. So what that means, if you're recording in 4K and you flip it around to sort of have it pick up your face, it may pick up the background. It's going to hunt a little bit.
Because using contrast.
The contrast, yeah. So that was crippled a little bit. But, all right, so that's one crippled thing. And then
it
the
still
other...
has a really bad rolling shutter. And
really bad rolling shutter.
And what that means is when you panning left and right, whatever is supposed to be perfectly straight across on a horizontal plane becomes wavy.
Very jellyish.
Like you're watching Jell-O pudding on your video.
Lines will move. Left and right. So I think that was a huge negative. And then they, for some weird reason, removed 24 frames a second from 1080p.
It's the butter roll.
Do you think that was on purpose, or was that a mistake? Someone forgot.
They don't even have 30 frames per second on 4K.
Oh, 4K. Yeah, they took 30 out of 4K and 24 out of
1080p.
They're just messing with us now.
And then when you hit 4K, you get that super crop. That's super annoying.
I heard it has no card slots.
Oh.
You can't record anything on it.
You can look at it and then remember how it looked.
You remember, yeah. Wow, that was a great
Tony,
moment.
remember that picture we took in our heads?
We ain't got a memory card, but no slots. You don't need them. And with that said, though, I was going to say, I try to take a step back and say, who would really love this camera? Like, obviously they do their market research. Think about someone who doesn't know much about photography, but has a little bit of money. If they had that camera on vacation, like totally, if they even were shooting it in auto.
Every camera we just touched on,
Yeah.
someone's going to love it.
Someone's going to love it.
It's not meant for people like you and me maybe here.
The
maybe,
YouTubers that complain, the reviewers.
But they're going to sell.
They're going to sell.
One of these cameras are going to sell. The Sony, the Panasonic, the Canon, the Fuji.
Yeah.
The Fuji, I think, is the best one on the list, if you ask me.
Totally.
The T30. But besides that, all these cameras are going to be great. And I think the bottom line is, don't take our opinion for it.
Yeah.
Pick it up, feel it in your hands. If the store has a return policy, take it out for a couple of days, get a feel for it, and then pick up whatever it is you want.
Yeah, that's true.
Or don't pick up anything because you might have something better already at home.
Yeah, true. I was gonna say that no one's. I mean, if you're kind of a super amateur and you don't care, no one's gonna notice the difference between 24 and 30 frames
Matter
a
of fact,
second.
if you're super amateur and you pick up one of these cameras, everyone's gonna say like, "Dude, your camera game is
Pictures
picked up,
look great.
son.
Yeah, wow,
Instagram
those
game
portraits
is
are
amazing,
great.
son." Anyway, Omar, thank you so much for this week. I think we've talked enough
About cameras and gear. Well, next time maybe we should talk more fotografía.
Maybe.
Sorry, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
That's it. I was
You
just
saying-
apologizing and wrapping it up. But you want to keep talking? Go ahead. Oh, whatever. I'll listen. Anyway. All right, brother. Up top. High five.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll see you next time. Take care, guys.